Hi folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports. This is an exciting video because we have something we haven't had here in quite a few years. That is 5 different ATVs from 4 different manufacturers, and there's only one natural thing to do when you gather up this many units. Let's go for a drag race. Let's start by taking a walk down the lineup and I'll introduce all of these models. So we start with Can-Am. Now this is the brand new Outlander. This brown model right here, or a kind of, I don't know, light brown, light gray, I'm not sure what you call the color. This model right here is the Can-Am Outlander PRO HD5. Now the Pro means it's the work focus model and HD5 is the base powertrain. The engine here, 650cc single cylinder, and it makes 40 horsepower. Now we roll to the next unit. This is also a Can-Am Outlander, but this is the Outlander XT700. But no, it doesn't have a different engine. This is the exact same 650cc single cylinder power plant. Can-Am just calls their less powerful version of 500 and the more powerful version of 700, even though it's one engine. Now over here in the 700, you're getting 50 horsepower, and that is thanks mostly to an ECU tune, but there's also a performance camshaft, which has to be installed here to get the extra power. So those are the two Can-Ams. Now we get to the big puppy today, and I'll be honest, this one stands out. We don't have any direct competitors for it, but I'm still curious to see what it does. This is the Polaris Sportsman XP1000. So it's our only 1000cc model. The power plant here is actually 952 cc's. This is the only twin cylinder unit here too, and it's making 90 horsepower. So nearly double the power of the other models. Once again, we kind of know it's going to be the quickest, but how quick is it going to be? Well, that's what we're going to find out. Now, next up, we have the Yamaha Grizzly 700. So this is a 686cc single-cylinder engine, and it's also making 50 horsepower. This thing next to that Can-Am 700, that's going to be probably the most closely contested drag race, and I really can't wait to see what happens. And then finally, we get down here to the end of the lineup to this nice blue Honda Rubicon, the least powerful model we have out here today. Honda actually recently upgraded this engine. They went from just under 500 cc's up to 518 cc's. So they made it a little bigger and it got a little bit more power. It now makes 30 horsepower. But there's one other difference too. The Honda is the only unit with a real geared transmission. Everything else here has a CVT. This thing has a dual clutch automatic. So maybe that'll make a big difference too. Now for the setup, because these are all not direct competitors. We actually have 4 really good drag races today. The first one is going to be that Honda Rubicon 518cc versus that 500 Can-Am Outlander. The second race is going to be that 700 Grizzly versus that Outlander 700. And then the loser of the 700 race is going to face the winner of the 500 race, because we need to find out which one of those two is quicker. And then finally, the quickest one out of those 4 will face that big Polaris 1000 just to see if it can hang around with it. So now let's get out there and ride. All right, folks, so I'm here behind the camera at the finish line, and here goes the first race. This is Honda versus Can-Am, and I don't know what to expect. Let's see what happens. And there you have it. That was Can-Am by about a full length. All right, Matt, well, I don't think it was a huge surprise that the Can-Am won, although the Honda jumped off the line. I mean, you have the DCT, so what did you feel Honda versus Outlander Pro?
I ran the Honda, the Rubicon, in the first heat, and honestly, it grabbed, it hooked up, and it went.
That's
and
the
part
gear.
of me was like, oh, I have a chance. I have a chance. There was a little part of me that got really excited, and then I saw the shadow, and it just kept going, and I went, oh, no, I don't.
And it's worth mentioning the Outlander Pro, the CVT is tuned for work. So they even tell you right off the bat, this thing is about low-end torque, not high-end top speed.
Yeah. The Pro is really geared for a low-end grunt, but it found me like punching it and looking around going, am I holding a brake? Am I missing something? Is it in gear? And then it kind of took off. So it was, that aspect of it is disappointing. I don't think you're the guy out there drag racing this thing, so I don't think you care.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was definitely faster off the line, faster overall.
Good to know. Alrighty, folks, now we're getting ready for what probably will be the most contested of these drag races. This is the Can-Am Outlander XT700 versus the Yamaha Grizzly 700. And on paper, they both have 50 horsepower. That's 50, and they're both single cylinders. Let's see what happens. That was all Can-Am. That was Can-Am by almost 2 full ATV lengths, I'd say. Well, I think this was the most closely contested of the drag races. I didn't know what to expect, but the Can-Am did walk away with it. I think you're gonna feel this over the video. Can-Am is a brand that prides itself on being quick and fast.
Bigger,
and that's
faster,
what we
stronger.
did see out here today. Now, technically, the Yamaha is a bigger engine. It has more CCs. They're both single cylinders, but that didn't matter. Can-Am took it. What did you feel, Matt?
Well, the Outlander over here versus the 500 version has dialed out that lag off the top. It is all go all the time.
Yeah.
So much so we spun tires. You can wheelie this thing a little bit. Over here on the line, they stacked up pretty good. I did kind of see and feel that we pulled the same for about 4 lengths, and then the Outlander started to pace me.
Yeah.
These tires, wonderful in the mud, never gonna get stuck, keep chugging through.
Yeah.
On that straight line, I was holding my hands on like a 45-degree angle, and I had to drive that thing the entire length.
Interesting. They just got those big knobs on them, and that makes it a little sketchier on a
It
hard
wasn't
packed
ideal
surface.
to drag race. They're great everywhere else.
Yeah.
But overall though, they both pull, and they're great machines.
Now this might be one of the more interesting races of the day, because the Grizzly 700 couldn't beat the Can-Am 700, but can it beat the Can-Am 500? Let's find out. Okay, and as expected and as should have happened, the Yamaha beat that Can-Am by at least 3-4 lengths. And now, folks, we line up that big boy. Yes, the Polaris 1000's much bigger. It's got almost double the horsepower. It should walk away from the Can-Am, but how much will it walk away from the Can-Am? And how will it be for our drag racers to handle all that power? So we'll ask Matt about it, but it looks like he got 2 wheels up off the line. Well, I think the folks saw it at home, Matt. You got a pretty good wheelie off the line on this Sportsman. Why don't you tell us about how this thing felt? And no surprise, it walked away from everything else.
No, we called it from the start. It was more about how badly will it beat everything else than will it beat everything else.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. That wheelie was unexpected. I hadn't ridden this yet on road today. I rode it a little off road this morning, but on road, I punched that first one and it came up and I almost took out Dad. So that would not have been good. We wouldn't have had anybody to start races.
We would have inherited though.
We'd be hiring. But I mean, it's insane. It's insane. That's the only word I have for this 1000.
Yeah.
It's more power than anyone needs. If you're out there mud bogging and you need that power to churn those wheels, I get it.
Sure.
In a day-to-day application, I can never see myself buying one, but you know, that doesn't matter. For that guy that wants to go fast, the biggest cool thing I loved about this, that seat. It's a weird thing, but it's a super plush, comfortable seat. And I mean, when you're doing wheelies and nearly, you know, killing your own family, it's nice to, oh, at least I was comfortable.
It is a massive, comfortable seat, and it's immediately noticeable. Just the whole seating position is really comfortable. And when you do have all that power and it's trying to ripping it out of your arms all the time, you want a little bit more comfort because this thing fatigues you. It's not an easy vehicle to ride because you're riding it the whole time.
And the only thing I'll add to this is we only ran it in standard mode.
Yeah, we didn't even put it in.
It has a performance button. We didn't even touch that because we didn't need it. We didn't want it, honestly.
It is ridiculous.
And I mean, for all this performance, you know, is this also the most expensive machine?
That's what we're gonna get to exactly, Matt, because that's the most important thing here. I was hoping to be surprised today, but I wasn't. I kind of knew where all these drag races were gonna go. Well, folks, we just want to make this a little bit more fun out here today. So let's see if with the Can-Am, with the head start, can it walk that Polaris, or is the Polaris going to catch it every time? Skating on him, he's skating! But now the point that ties it all together are the prices. So we'll start in the middle. This thing, as it sits right here, is about $18,500 here in Canada. By far the most expensive machine.
And you're paying for that performance.
Exactly. I'll move down the line this way. Our Yamaha Grizzly here today, about $14,000 Canadian. Down here to our Outlander XT700, $12,000 Canadian, and don't forget it did beat that Yamaha, so that's $2,000 less. Now over here, the Honda, the slowest and least powerful of the group, we're talking about $13.5 Canadian. You pay for the Honda reliability, I guess, and the gears, but this thing definitely feels a little expensive considering
its performance.
And that this Outlander Pro, which walked away from it, is just over $9,000 here in Canada. So this is the least expensive of the group, but it was still quicker than the Honda. So with all of those prices in mind, I think the Can-Ams look good. I think the Polaris, you expect it to be that much better because it was that more expensive. But I think that if one machine shines through, it is that yellow XT700. Yeah. For $12,000 Canadian, it feels like the bargain of the group. It walked away from everything but the Sportsman. We tried to give it a head start, but it still didn't win. But even so, I feel like after what we did today, this is maybe overall winner because of the value. What do you think?
And at that, yeah, exactly. At that price point, at that value point, I'm $2,000 to $3,000 less than the machines that I'm beating. I'm just a hair shy of this guy. But for that money, I can add all the cool accessories. Like the Yamaha is a little bit pricier because of the special edition. I can add a skid plate. I can get the bigger tires, get the cargo box, and I could still be on par, and I'm outperforming as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, for that value package, I don't think you can beat that one out here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might as well just throw it out there. You can get a big bore 1000 from Can-Am if you want it. So it's not like you couldn't match up directly. But just from what we have here today, I think that's the winner. Well, folks, we've come to the end of this one, and what have we proven here today? That 1,000 is quicker than a 500? Well, yes, but you already knew that. I think really the key is, with the ATV market, especially now, you have more choices than ever. So if you don't need to go crazy fast, you have a lot of good options. And then if you do want outright bonkers performance, you have an option for that too. It's just about finding that sweet spot between power and price that's going to work for you. And hopefully after watching this, you have maybe a bit of a better idea of exactly which machine you would go for. And of course, I want to know, so go in the comments, let us know which one of these ATVs you would buy. And then as always, please come back here to TK Power Sports to see what we're testing next. And it is a gorgeous summer day, so I got some more riding to do. We'll see you folks later.